There was nothing else at all in the whole world but football.
Hello and welcome to the Triple F for another episode of the Magic of, a show where we profile clubs from all over the world to find out about their history, culture and fan base. In this episode we'll be looking at the incredible club based in the heart of Andalusia, Seville FC. I'll start by giving you a brief rundown of the history of the city Seville, the football club itself, and then finish by having a chat with one of their biggest fans, who just so happens to be a Triple F regular, Robert. I really hope you guys enjoy the Magic of Sevilla. That was the breathtaking Himno del Sevilla right there. It's very unusual to hear a chant that plays out like a full song or a hymn. The closest thing that springs to mind is You'll Never Walk Alone, but I mean that's usually cut down to size during its use on match days. The Himno del Sevilla is always sung for its entire 4-minute length. When you're used to hearing repetitive chanting in football, it's great to hear something completely different and beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, now let's take a look at the beautiful city of Seville. Seville is the capital of Andalusia, the 4th largest city in Spain behind Madrid, Barcelona and Valencia. As of 2018, Seville had a population of 1,262,000 people. Seville was once historically the capital of Muslim Spain, a centre for Spanish exploration of the New World, and has made a huge cultural impact throughout its history. Originally an Iberian town, it flourished under the Romans from the 2nd century onward, known as Hispalis, administrative centre of the province Beetica. During the 5th century, it had been controlled by the Selingi Vandals and then the Visigoths. In 711, the town had succumbed to Muslim rule. As Seville, it flourished as a cultural and commercial centre under the Abbasid dynasty and then later the Almoravid and Almohad confederations. As the Almohad capital in the 12th century, Seville enjoyed great prosperity and ambitious building programs. But after the Muslim possession of Seville was ended in 1248 by Spanish Christians under Ferdinand III, the substantial Moorish and Jewish minorities were driven into exile, and the local economy temporarily fell into ruin. The Spanish discovery of the Americas brought new prosperity to the city. Seville became the centre of the exploration and exploitation of America through the Casa de Contratación, House of Trade, which was established there in 1503 to regulate commerce between Spain and the New World. For 2 centuries, Seville was to hold a dominant position in Spain's New World commerce. It was the site of gold and silver from the Americas, and many Spanish emigrants to the New World sailed from its quays. Seville was in fact the richest and most populous city in Spain in the 16th century, with some 150,000 inhabitants in 1588. This brilliance was fleeting, however, since Seville's prosperity was based almost entirely on the exploitation of the colonies rather than on local industry and on trade. As a result, Seville's economy declined in the 17th century, though its cultural life underwent a great flowering at the time. The painters Diego Velázquez, Francisco de Zurbarán, Bartolomé Esteban Murillo, the sculptor Juan Martínez Montañez, and the poet Fernando de Herrera are the glories of Seville and of Spain. Also, Miguel de Cervantes conceived his novel Don Quixote while he was confined in Seville's jail. In the 18th century, Spain's Bourbon rulers managed to stimulate a limited economic revival in the city, but in the 19th century, the French invasion, revolutions, and a civil war halted such development. In 1847, the April Fair, an annual gala following Easter, was established. The Ibero-American Exposition of 1929 initiated a new renaissance in Seville. During the 20th century, the port was enlarged and the city revived as an industrial and commercial centre. Seville's many architectural monuments survived the Spanish Civil War in 1936-39 intact because the city was held by the nationalists throughout the entire conflict. The Universal Exposition World's Fair opened in Seville in 1992, spurring the construction of new monuments and modernisation. New roads were built, as well as a train station to serve the high-speed train Alta Velocidad Española, the AVE, which connects Seville to Madrid in less than 3 hours. The old train station, Antigua Estación de Córdoba, was restored and is now an exhibition hall. New bridges were also constructed, as well as a theatre, an auditorium, and the Congress Palace. In January of 1890, Seville Football Club was formed by British expatriates, largely made up of owners and managers of Scottish manufacturing companies based in the capital of Andalusia, Seville. It's reported that, on the actual day of the club's formation that coincided with the Scottish founding members' celebration of Burns Night. It's also said how they insisted on playing under association rules, that the word football must be present within the team's name, and how their board members must always be elected. Mr. Edward Johnston from Scotland was the club's first president and happened to be the British vice-consul in Seville and co-proprietor of the shipping company MacAndrews & Co., which was responsible for the distribution of a variety of produce, one of them being Seville oranges. Hugh McColl, also from Scotland, a marine engineer working as a technical manager in a foundry in Seville, was the club's first ever captain. One of McColl's partners at his foundry, Isaias White, began working as Seville FC's secretary. White sent a letter to Recreativo de Huelva inviting them to play a match to celebrate the club's foundations. Consequently, the game on the 8th of March 1890 was the first ever official football club in Spanish history. Seville FC won that game by 2-0. In 1918, Seville FC competed in the Copa de España for the first time and became the first Andalusian team to reach the final round of the competition. In 1928, when the Campeonato Nacional, the National League Championships, was established, Seville FC was not part of the First Division as they lost to Racing de Santander in a qualification match to the newly formed league. At the end of the 1933-34 season, Seville FC was promoted to the First Division of the Campeonato Nacional. In 1935, they were proclaimed Copa del Rey champions for the first time by defeating Sabadell. They repeated this feat in 1939 against Racing de Ferrol and again in 1948 against Celta de Vigo. During this period of success, legends of the club such as Guillermo Campanal, Mariano Uceda Valverde and Raimundo Blanco massively contributed. The club participated in 2 other finals but conceded defeat to Athletic Bilbao in 1955 and then to Real Madrid in 1962. Sevilla remained in the First Division from the 1933-34 season until 1967. when they were relegated to the second division, a tier from which they have never been further relegated from. The 1945-46 season was one of high importance in the history of Sevilla, as it marked the first, and to date only time in which the team was league champions. On 4 other occasions, the club was proclaimed league runner-up in the 1939-40, 1942-43, 1950-51 and 1956-57 seasons. For their only league title to date, massive thanks goes to the contribution of another club legend, Juan Arthur. On the 28th of October 1956, President Sanchez Pizjuan died suddenly. As an appreciation to the deceased leader, under whose chairmanship Sevilla had won 3 Copas del Rey, the fans decided that the club's planned new stadium was to be named in his honour. In the 1956-57 season, the team were Liga runners-up behind Real Madrid, ensuring qualification for the first time to the European Cup. The club needed a victory on the final day of the season to avoid relegation, but they reached the quarter-finals of the European Cup before being knocked out by holders and eventual champions Real Madrid. In 1973, Sevilla signed their first ever black player, Gambian winger Biri Biri from Danish club Boldklubben 1901. He remained at the club until 1978 and became a cult figure. In the 1974-75 season, with the Argentine Roque Olsen in charge, the club returned to the first division. The 75th anniversary of the club was celebrated with a variety of social events and a match against Brazilian side Santos. In 1982, the World Cup was held in Spain and Sevilla's Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan was the venue for the semi-final match between West Germany and France. Vicente Cantatori led the club to UEFA Cup qualification at the end of the 1989-90 season, with Austrian forward Tony Polster scoring a club record 33 La Liga goals. In the 92-93 season, after several months of negotiation, world-renowned Argentine Diego Maradona signed from Napoli for a fee of 7.5 million pesetas. His time at the club, however, was unsuccessful, and he was released in large part due to his periodic injuries and clashes with coach Carlos Bilardo. In the following seasons, Luis Aragonés became manager and finished the 94-95 season with qualification to next season's UEFA Cup. At the end of the 94-95 season, despite the pleas of the club's directors, Sevilla, along with Celta Vigo, were one of the 2 clubs relegated from the top flight on reasons of administration, provoking action from the fans. The action resulted in both Sevilla and Celta being reinstated to La Liga. These events led to an institutional instability, with the season seeing 4 presidents and 3 managers take charge. Sevilla were relegated at the end of the 96-97 season, but they returned in 1999. At the beginning of the 21st century, the presidency of the club was assumed by the popular Roberto Alés. The situation of the club was very delicate at the time. The team had dropped back to the second division in the year 2000, and the squad was weakened by player retirements and the sale of key players. The club opted for a relatively unknown manager, Joaquín Caparros, who helped the team win the second division with 3 matches to spare in just his first season at the helm. Sevilla claimed their first ever European trophy, the 2006 UEFA Cup final at the Philipsstadion Eindhoven on 10th of May 2006. The club defeated English club Middlesbrough 4-0 under new manager Juan de Ramos, with the scoring opened by Brazilian striker Luis Fabiano. In the second half, Italian substitute Enzo Maresca scored twice to be named man of the match, where Malian striker Frédéric Canute finished the scoring. Sevilla opened their 2006-07 season by winning the 2006 UEFA Super Cup with a 3-0 victory over Champions League winners and compatriots Barcelona at the Stade Louis II in Monaco. The season ended with a second consecutive UEFA Cup win, this time against fellow Spanish club Espanyol at Hampden Park, Glasgow. The match went to penalties after finishing 2-2 after extra time, with Sevilla goalkeeper Andrés Palop saving 3 of Espanyol's penalties. Sevilla defeated Getafe in the 2007 Copa del Rey final, with Canute scoring the only goal in the game's 11th minute. Sevilla finished third in that season's La Liga to qualify for the 2007-08 Champions League. As a result of these successes, Sevilla was voted as the International Federation of Football History and Statistics Team of the Year for the second consecutive season, becoming the first ever club to achieve this. They won the 2007 Supercopa de España against La Liga champions Real Madrid. The season started to derail, however, after defender Antonio Puerta suffered a heart attack in the first game of the season and died 3 days later on the 28th of August. 3 days after his death, Sevilla then lost 3-1 to Milan in the 2007 UEFA Super Cup in Monaco. Juan de Ramos, the individual largely responsible for Sevilla's success, resigned as manager on the 27th of October to take the post with Tottenham Hotspur. He was replaced by Sevilla Atletico manager Manolo Jimenez. In the summer of 2008, before Jimenez's debut season as first-team manager, Dani Alves and Seydou Keita were both sold to Barcelona, while Christian Poulsen left for Juventus. Despite this, Sevilla finished third in La Liga with a club record equaling 21 victories and a club record number of away victories. The 2009-10 season saw a third consecutive qualification to the Champions League. On 19th of May 2010, Sevilla defeated Atletico Madrid 2-0 in the 2010 Copa del Rey final at the Camp Nou, with goals from Diego Capel and Jesus Navas. Navas was later a World Cup winner with the Spain national team in July of that year. If you guys are enjoying what the Triple F has to offer so far, you'll enjoy our Under the Floodlights special of legendary West Ham defender Julian Dix. I'll be joined by good friend of mine and lifelong Hammers fan, Mike Stebbings, as Julian Dix goes under the floodlights. On the 14th of January 2013, after a 2-0 away loss to Valencia that left the Andalusians in 12th place, manager at the time Michel was relieved of his duties and replaced by Spanish manager Unai Emery. On the 14th of May 2014, Sevilla defeated Benfica on penalties in the 2014 UEFA Europa League final to claim their third triumph in the competition. On the 27th of May 2015, Sevilla repeated as Europa League champions after defeating Ukrainian club Dnipro 3-2 in the 2015 final. In defeating Dnipro, they became the only club to have won the Europa League 4 times. The club returned to the Europa League final for a third consecutive time, facing Liverpool in the 2016 final. After being 1-0 down at half-time, Sevilla bounced back in the second half to eventually win 3-1, with 1 goal scored from Kevin Gamiro and 2 from club captain Koch. With the third consecutive Europa League title in 2016, it's hard to believe that it could get any better from there. However, in 2019, Sevilla added a 6th Europa League trophy, making them 6-time champions, begging the question, should we now just name the competition the Sevilla League? Currently things are looking really good for Sevilla. Coach Julian Lopetegui has them well organised in a solid and effective manner, which sees them sit 4th in La Liga with a good chance of Champions League qualification for next season. Although many fans were opposed to Lopetegui's appointment due to his slightly controversial history with the Spanish national side, the future looks bright for Sevilla under his tutelage. Robert, can you tell me what your first memories of Sevilla are? The first time you remember going to a match or seeing them on TV? Just anything sort of interesting that you can think of, really.
I think it started when I was a kid, when I was back in school, 5, 6 years old. I don't remember exactly when I became fan of Sevilla. I think it was in school, and I think the first game that I watched maybe was probably a Sevilla Betis, a derby. But I remember very well my first game, my first real game in the Sanchez Pizjuan. It was Sevilla versus Zaragoza, season 2005-2006. It was in one La Liga game. It ended 1-1. It was actually a great game to see. It was a lot of opportunities. Zaragoza was playing also really good. And I remember Sevilla was losing 0-1 and they scored the last minute, 93 minutes, and I was so happy because we got a draw, because it was a game. It was a loss, like
Yeah.
1-0, and then in the last minute, it
Yeah.
was good. Good memories.
A dramatic end. They're always a good feeling when, because I've been to a few Arsenal games where I think there was a game against Norwich and we ended up winning the game 2-1 at the end, or it might have been 3-2. But yeah, when you score a goal at the last minute, it's a great feeling.
That feeling, that feeling, the
Yeah.
emotion, the passion. Also, I was with my father. I remember
Mm.
everything about that game, and such a good feeling. I hope I can. Sometimes I feel like I wish I was, again in that stadium for the first time, because
Mm.
I think the first time is actually like. It's something like so good, like because it's the first time you go to a stadium. Everything is so big. You see the fans, you see the people, the football players so close, because you always see them on the screen, on the TV, and actually it's like you are in a fairy tale.
Mm. Yeah.
You are like it's such a good
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, you don't have to explain, man. I'm sure everybody knows when they go to their first game. I think even when I went to my first game at like my local football team in a tiny little
Yeah.
stadium, just remembering the feeling that I had just when you go through that alleyway, when you start to see, the green grass, when you start to see the players warming up on the pitch, that's where it's exciting. And yeah, no, you don't have to explain that at all. When it came to sort of making the decision, because there are two teams in Sevilla, aren't there? There's obviously
Yeah.
Betis and then there's Sevilla. Was there ever a time that you had to sort of make a decision between the two, or?
No, not at all. Like the first time, it was like love from first sight.
Mm,
I knew that Sevilla was my team at the moment I first start to know more about football. In the city of Seville, you either are from Sevilla or Betis. You are not a fan from Barcelona. You are not a fan from Real Madrid. You either are from Sevilla or Betis. And I remember, I don't know. It's just it was the right thing for me from the first moment I saw Sevilla. I didn't have a doubt. For example, my brother, my little brother, is from Betis,
yeah.
and I don't know why he chose Real Betis. Maybe because it was a team more than that fits more in his profile.
Mm.
Maybe he wanted to, like fight with me a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy that I made that choice. But I didn't have to choose. It was just yeah, Sevilla.
Sevilla chose you, more or less.
Sevilla chose me. Yeah, totally.
As an Arsenal fan, when the name Unai Emery gets mentioned, it doesn't go down too well for Arsenal fans. But as a Sevilla fan, what do you think of when you hear the name Unai Emery?
When I hear the name of Unai Emery, first thing that pops into my mind is great coach and great person. I
Mm-hmm.
think what he did in Seville was a great job, but total achievement. Like 3 Europa Leagues in a row. I think that's something that nobody can do. Only the great coaches can do, like Unai Emery. And I remember the first time he signed for Sevilla. I think he has this kind of power, the mentality that he has. He changed the team. Sevilla was maybe ninth, 10th in La Liga. They were not playing Europa League that season, and he came. He said like we have to put Sevilla back in Europe, and 3 years later, Sevilla won has 3 more Europa Leagues in his pocket. I mean, what can I say about this guy? He changed Sevilla history, and I had the opportunity to meet him in person, and he's a nice guy, great to talk with. I think what he has so good is his mentality.
Mm.
He's really ambitious. He's a hardworking person. He knows what to do in every moment, and I think that work philosophy about working. We have to win. We have to win. I think what makes him a great coach.
Is he somebody that you would be happy with if he ever came back to Sevilla in the future?
I will be happy, of course. I mean, right now I'm really happy with Julen Lopetegui.
Yeah.
But of course, I think that the relationship with Unai Emery and Sevilla didn't end. Of course, I think maybe in 10, 20 years, maybe even before, maybe 5 years, who knows? But I think that what Emery did, I think it didn't end. You know, like he left Sevilla with 3 Europa Leagues. Sevilla playing Champions League that year. I think he left really good, Seville. Of
Mm.
course, some people criticize, were like, maybe he left really. He was saying that he was gonna stay, you know. And then when PSG wanted to sign him, now I'm gonna go to PSG. You know, like it
Mm.
was a little bit of, I don't want to. It was not really honest with his move to PSG,
Mm.
but I think he left in the right moment. You know, when you win 3 Europa Leagues in a row, and you
Mm.
know that you have to kind of create a new project. I think it was the right moment, and I'm happy that he's now doing well at Villarreal because I think he's a great person.
Yeah, no, it's great to hear that, because I do think when clubs and managers, when they really gel together and when that chemistry is
Mm.
there, it really works really well. And obviously, I think with Emery and Sevilla, that's perfect chemistry. That's a good example of the right manager being at the right team. Unfortunately, it just didn't work well for him in Arsenal. But also, I do believe that Emery belongs in Spain. I think in Spain is probably where he will do his best work and where he'll probably succeed the most. Because I think even at PSG, it just, he achieved a lot of great things there, and he was, for the most part, very successful. But I think in Spain, I think because of his understanding of La Liga, because of his commanding grasp, obviously, of Spanish, and that I think he's able to just relate a lot better over in La Liga. So yeah, I do think he'll do really well in Villarreal.
Yeah, I think that what you said about the chemistry is the right word because
Mm.
I think what he had with Monchi is something that is happening the same with Lopetegui. I think you have to get used to the philosophy of the club. For example, I think what he felt at Arsenal is that was not matching the working style, maybe his way of living or way of working, whatever, with Arsenal philosophy. You know, he's Spanish, he has another culture. And sometimes I feel like there are some coaches, like for example Pep Guardiola, that Pep Guardiola he can adapt to every team, to every country, to a different league. But there are specific managers that are for certain leagues, certain countries. For example, let's say Lineker. I don't know. Lineker he fell at Valencia. I think he maybe I don't know how is he doing in England. For example, David Moyes. David Moyes. I
Mm.
think he's a guy that can only succeed in England.
Sorry,
Maybe in Italy.
when you said Lineker, do you mean Gary Neville?
Yeah, sorry, Gary Neville. Yeah, Gary Neville. Yeah, I made a mistake
Yeah,
there. Yeah, because he was the coach at Valencia, but
yeah,
then he was sacked after 2 3
yeah,
months.
yeah. Well, he's never gone back into management, so I think he just is not really made out for management at all. He's very good.
Yeah,
He's a very good pundit for Sky Sports, but when it comes to management, I think he's better. He's one of those where it comes to a lot of pundits. I think a lot of them are better at talking than actually doing, and it just proves
yeah,
how difficult managing is.
totally. I think people they overestimate how, because they see the role of the coach, they overestimate the role of the coach, and because they see, oh, this is easy, we have to substitute, for example, Ozil but for Shaka, and
Yeah.
put maybe another winger, for example, let's put Martinelli. And people think for example, right now that you are watching Arsenal on a regular basis, you
Yeah.
might think, okay, William is playing really awful. Why not play another guy, for example, Pepe, Martinelli, and maybe, I don't know, Arteta is still putting William. I don't know. And the thing is, like, people think that they know better than the coach, and
Yeah.
I think people overestimate the role, and I think it's really complicated. It has a lot of things to do also in the mind, and not just tactics. And yeah,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And there's a stance I always try to take is that, you know, us as fans, us as supporters, we're really not qualified when it comes to making decisions that the manager can make. And it's the manager that has got to that position because of his experience, because of his expertise, because of the absolute knowledge and the skill that that man has in the game, that they're able to make those decisions, and they're able to take that responsibility on their shoulders. But when it comes to, you know, Dave down the pub on Twitter, he's the one that unfortunately makes a lot of noise and says that, you know, why is he playing Willian there when it should be blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, we're just fans and we should just stick to being fans. But yeah, I think any manager, even when they struggle, even when they have difficult times, we should really appreciate how hard it is for managers to do the
totally.
job they do. On to the fun part. So your top 5 favourite ever Sevilla players, Robert?
Well, it was difficult to choose only 5. To be honest, there were a lot of players that have captivated me during my 24 years so far. And I will say maybe the first one, most favorite player of all time from Sevilla FC is Frederic Canute. I think you
Nice.
know Frederic Canute, played for Tottenham for a few years.
I do.
What he did was unbelievable. He was a key player during that important team between 2006 and 2010. You know, they won 2 Europa Leagues, 1 European Super Cup, 1 Spanish Super Cup, 1 Spanish Cup, and 2 Spanish Cups, sorry. And they also became the best team in the world, according to an institution, the statistic, international history statistic of football, something like that. I don't know
Yeah.
the exact name.
Mm.
So I think he has, but apart from that, he was a good player. But apart from that, he was also a good person. He
Mm.
organized charity match for in order to get money for NGOs and for children in Africa.
Yeah.
I think his human work is as a human, you know, like helping poor kids, helping people in Africa, organizing charity match, everything. I think that part uh, was really strong, and
Yeah.
I think that's the reason. I think it's my most favorite player in the history of Sevilla.
Excellent. I mean, when, like you say, obviously I am familiar with his name because of his ties to Tottenham, but he also had a stint at West Ham, I believe, and I think with his time in the Premier League, I think, you know, he had a really good time and a really good stint at Tottenham, and I think he played quite well for West Ham, but I don't think it's anywhere near the kind of level and the kind of legacy that he left at Sevilla. Because I think at Sevilla, like you say, he's a complete and utter legend. And, you know, maybe it was at Sevilla, maybe it was in La Liga where he was able to really sort of make his mark and become and be the incredible player that he was.
I totally agree. I think When he came, he was maybe 30 years old. He was an experienced player, but I think he changed Sevilla history. Uh, he scored so many goals. He was scoring at least 15 goals per season. Was also good at assisting. He was a captain in the a captain, one of the key players in the dressing room. I mean, his history of Sevilla, and I will describe him in one word: legend.
Atención al contraataque del Sevilla. Navas con Ute Negredo para Canuté. ¡Gol! Golazo de Canuté. El contraataque del Sevilla. Negredo para Canuté y gol de Canuté. Segundo tanto del Sevilla.
Sevilla tiene pólvora, Negredo, Canuté, Luis Fabiano, tiene muy buenos delanteros, creo.
Number two, I will put Jesus Navas. He made his debut for Sevilla with 16, 17 years old back in 2004, I guess. Yeah, 2004. And what he did, he played more than 12 seasons with Sevilla. He played 3-4 years with Manchester City. But his history of Seville, he played so many games. We saw how Jesus Nava grew. He was a little kid. He was playing with the first team when he was 18, 19 years old. He became more and more important, and he became captain. And when he was at his best moment, I think his best moment was in 2010 when he won the World Cup with Spain. He won. I think 2 or 3 years later, after his maybe his best moment, he left Sevilla to join Manchester City. I think he made the right decision because a player like him wanted to play big games. He wanted to become more important in a big team, play another, try to get different challenges in life in football. And he came back 4 years ago, and you can see right now he lifted the trophy of the last Europa League. He's the captain of Sevilla. He's the captain and the
Mr. Sevilla, almost.
Mr. Sevilla right now.
Yeah.
And I think right now it's I don't have anything more to say about Jesus Navas than Mr. Sevilla.
Do you think he ever had the opportunity or the chance to go to like a big club in La Liga in Spain? Like, was there ever the opportunity to go to, say, a Barca or Real?
Yeah, I think so. I think Real Madrid wanted him because Sergio Ramos is a good friend of Jesus Navas. They were together with the juniors of Sevilla. But Ramos left really young, with 18 years old. Navas stayed, and I think during some years, teams like Real Madrid wanted him because he was, the perfect right winger for a team. He's a player capable of crossing the ball all the time, making assists. And I think Real Madrid wanted him, but he decided to stay at Seville. I think he's the kind of guy, he doesn't want to leave his city, his family. He didn't want to play for the national team during the first few years of his professional career because he didn't want to leave his family. I think he had like a kind of a problem of, I don't want to leave my family, I don't want to travel. That postponed his debut for the national team. I think he made his debut in 2009 when he was already 23 years old. And I think that was the main reason why he didn't leave. He didn't leave for a team like Real Madrid. And when he got the chance to join Manchester City, I think it was the right decision for Sevilla, the right decision for City. I think Sevilla wanted to get some money to build a new project. to get because at that moment they needed to sell players like Negredo, Navas, and try to buy 5, 9, 10 players really at a really low cost.
Yeah.
And the decision was worth it because Sevilla at the end of the year won the Europa League 2014. And yeah, I mean, I think he made the right choice, and but I still think that he could have been one club man. There are some players like, for example, Messi,
Steven Gerrard,
Steven Gerrard,
John Terry.
John Terry. There are one club men, and
Yeah.
I think Navas could have been one of them, but I mean, he left for City.
But maybe it was out of respect as well that he, instead of going to Real Madrid or Barcelona, because he didn't want to play for a direct competitor, a direct competitor against Sevilla. Maybe it was a little bit out of respect that he decided to go to a completely different league and to play for City altogether.
Yeah, I think so. I think he didn't want to play directly against Sevilla. Like if he joins Real Madrid, he joins Barcelona, he will become a rival from Sevilla. And I think that was probably one of the main reasons why he didn't sign for Real Madrid. He loves Sevilla, and he would never try to be a rival for Sevilla. Although they both played City and Sevilla in Champions League in the season 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
And Navas played really good. They won 3-1 in the Sanchez Pizjuan.
Yeah.
Navas, I think that he made 2 assists, and I was like, oh man, really?
Well, do you think if he scored, do you think he would have celebrated?
No, of course not. He's Sevilla. Apart from the Sevilla player, he's a Sevilla fan. He is always saying that Sevilla is his life. Sevilla FC is everything in his life. He cannot live without Sevilla. And even when he was in Manchester City, he was always asking his teammates, "Oh, how is Sevilla going? Is Sevilla win?" Because there were some games. Manchester City was playing at the same time as Sevilla, and sometimes if Nava was playing at that moment, he was like, "How is Sevilla doing? Are they winning?" And I think that says so much about a player.
Jesus Navas, brilliance from Sevilla. Look at that pass. That's beautiful. It's textbook Sevilla. No chance for Saint Ica. Wonderful providing, wonderful finishing.
Number 3, I would say Luis Fabiano. Luis Fabiano o Fabuloso. He's a Brazilian striker. He played for the Brazilian national team for a few years. And I would say I never seen another striker like him. He's pure quality. He's a top quality player. He's really good at finishing. He was the beauty. It was like so. It was the kind of outstanding player to see. Was probably the best striker I ever seen with Sevilla FC.
Yeah.
I think he has is the perfect striker. He's good with the headers. He's good at making. Is good with free kicks, with penalties. He's good with the right foot, good with the left foot. It was also the way he scores the goal. Top the finishes. He was a striker with it was really clinical, and he scored at least 15 goals per season.
Servicio, Luis Fabiano, la posibilidad, viene el disparo. ¡Gol de Sevilla!
And number 4?
Number 4, I will say Antonio Puerta. Antonio Puerta, I think He's probably one of the most important players in the history of Sevilla. Maybe he didn't have the chance to play that much with Sevilla because he died at the age of 22.
Oh, wow.
He had a heart attack during the game Sevilla Getafe
Mm,
in the year 2007 against Getafe. I mean, it was a total shock in the city of Sevilla, in the club. I think after the death, the team was not the same. You know, it was a dramatic loss in the club. He was a talented player. He was playing for the national team. He had a great future ahead, and the way he died, I think, changed Sevilla history. I think thanks to his death, Sevilla became more stronger than ever. They fight. You know, Sevilla has the fight, the 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 feature of fighting until the end. That spirit of fighting until the end, I think, is the spirit of Antonio Puerta.
Yeah.
Every game is dedicated to Antonio Puerta. I think that bit of luck that Sevilla has in the last minutes in the crucial games, I think is because of the force of the spirit of Antonio Puerta. And every game, the players know we have to do this because of Antonio Puerta. And I think that's the spirit of Sevilla, fighting until the end, fighting for Antonio.
That's good, man. That's a very nice and powerful message to hear. So that's brilliant.
Este le devuelve el esférico, el de los Palacios. Ahí está Jesús Navas, la va a meter en el área. Segundo palo. Ahí está Puerta, le pega a Puerta. ¡Gol! 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 ¡Del Sevilla! Rumbo Eindhoven. Camino Eindhoven. Camino a la final. Sueña el Sevilla. Marca un canterano. ¡Qué golazo! Ruge Nervión. Se cae el Sánchez Pizjuán. Antonio Puerta.
Can I guess who your number 5 is?
Well, I'll let you guess.
Yeah. Is it Jose Antonio Reyes? No, it's not.
Unfortunately, not. I mean,
okay.
I was thinking of including Antonio Reyes, but I have to make a list of 5 players.
Yeah.
And I think Reyes could have been a 6. You know?
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you off for that one.
But
Yeah,
I'm saying my top 5 player is a current player of Sevilla. I decided to include him because I mean, I'm in love with this player. He's probably one of the best center backs in the world right now. He's only 23 years old, and he does things like I never seen before. He's a center back, and he plays like a right back as a winger. He is real offensive. He has impressive technical skills and also physical skills. He's the what can I say?
I'm guessing you're talking about Jules Koundé.
Yeah, you are totally right. I mean, in my 24 years of as a Sevilla FC fan, I never seen a center back like Koundé. I think he can be whenever he wants. Right now, I don't have a doubt. He's probably one of the best center backs in the world, maybe top 5 best center back in the world. And I think in the future he can become maybe the best. He can become the next Sergio Ramos, the next Varane. And I'm happy he's playing for Sevilla. He's also the kind of guy he has a good attitude. He doesn't. I think he's good. You know, he's really humble. And that's the reason I'm putting him in the fifth position.
If he were to go to a Real Madrid or a Barcelona or another sort of top team outside of Spain, would you blame him for that? Would you be angry?
I mean, I won't blame him. I mean, if he joins Real Madrid, maybe a little bit, but I mean, I think he will probably join another team in Europe, maybe Bayern Munich, maybe Manchester City. And of course, if he signs for Madrid, I won't be happy because Real Madrid is an enemy of Sevilla. It's a rival for Sevilla. But I think it's just a matter of time. He's going to be sold. Of course, he's not going to leave for 60 million or 70 million. He's going to be sold for 80 million at least. And if he is sold for the right amount, let's say 80 million of euros, I will be happy because it's a lot of money. Of course, we are selling a good player, but I mean, it's 80 million euros. That's a lot. Like
Yeah. How much was he bought for?
They bought him for 25 million euros.
Wow.
It was not cheap, but I mean,
No. It's
I
cheaper
think
than
if
80
he
million
sell,
though
if
if you
he's
sell it for that.
yeah, that for sure. But that says a lot about Monchi, his eye of
Yeah. Which club was he bought from then, Koundé?
Girondin Bordeaux.
Oh, okay, Bordeaux.
Sorry for my pronunciation. I don't know if
for your French.
Girondin Bordeaux.
Just say
French,
Bordeaux. Bordeaux's fine.
Bordeaux.
Yeah, see, that's better than mine. So I think you've mentioned it already, but like you're really happy with Lopetegui. But let's try and talk a little bit more about that. I mean, what would your sort of current assessment of him be, and why?
So far, excellent job. I mean, he's the right coach for Sevilla. He has a good chemistry with Monchi, with the club. I think what he has done so far is 9 out of 10. I mean, I won't put a 10 because a 10 is winning La Liga, for example. But yeah, he has showed that he's a great coach because some people have had doubts when Sevilla signed him. Of course, you know that he was sacked one day before the start of the World Cup. He was the coach of the national team of Spain. He was sacked because one day before the World Cup, and he was sacked because he signed for Real Madrid during the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then people thought that it was not the right moment to sign a contract for Real Madrid. And I think 90% of the people, apart from Real Madrid fans in Spain, hated him. I was included. But when he signed for Sevilla, he showed he was a great coach with really ambitious and the kind of coach that during the game is able to adapt to different situations. So if the team is losing, he knows exactly what to do. His plan, his strategy is always ahead of the other coach, and I think that is what he makes him a great coach.
Yeah.
The way he changes the game sometimes, because there are some teams that are 0-0 and they don't do anything, or teams that are winning 1-0 and they don't do anything. But Lopetegui, knows what to do in every moment of the game. He controls every moment, and I think he's improving on that. Every game is showing that he's learning from the mistakes, that he adapts to the rival, to the other team, and I'm actually really grateful of everything that he has done so far, and I'm really excited to the next 3-4 years with Julen Lopetegui.
Yeah, if you had to sort of describe his playing style, because obviously, I mean, Guardiola, we know what playing style he has, the tiki-taka kind of style, and then Jurgen Klopp has that heavy metal, very aggressive, high pressing style of football. What if you had to kind of describe Lopetegui's style for Sevilla, what would you say?
I don't think that there's like a exact word. I would say football, good football.
Yeah.
Because he knows how to defend in deep block when the teams need to defend in deep block. But Lopetegui is the coach that wants to play high pressure, that they want to when every time Sevilla loses the ball, they want to get the ball as fast as possible. The last few games, I think Sevilla has been Sevilla's football can be described in fast football. Touches. They touch the ball really fast. They try to go really direct to the. They are really direct. They want to score a goal as fast as possible.
Yeah.
But I think it's a mix. It's not like direct football. It's not tiki taka. It's a mix. Some part of the game, the team is more slow. They want to keep more the possession. Sometimes they increase the pace, and I think that's what makes Sevilla a strong team. They always compete. They always they are really solid. I think that's maybe that's the word. I would say solid.
Do you think it's possible or realistic to ever expect Sevilla to win La Liga, or even the Champions League? Is that something that you think might even happen?
I have faith. I have faith. I think this year could have been the year of La Liga. Of course, this year Sevilla is not that far ahead from Barcelona, and Real Madrid. I mean, they are just 1 point behind Real Madrid and 1 point behind Barcelona. I mean, they are together with Real Madrid and Barcelona, competing with Real Madrid and Barcelona. That's actually good. But this year, Atletico has been impressive. I mean, it's just disappointing because this year could have been maybe the year, because I see Sevilla more solid than Madrid and Barcelona right now. But who knows? Maybe in the future, Sevilla can try to aim for La Liga. But I think it's really difficult. I will say that it's more. I think it's more possible the Champions League. I think the Champions League with, of course, in the Champions League you have to play the best teams in Europe. But I think in the Champions League, I think the referees are more neutral. I mean, in Spain, I feel like sometimes Real Madrid and Atletico they always get some help from referees' decision, from the VAR decisions, and teams like Sevilla they don't have that much luck with referees and VAR decisions. And I think in Europe, I think that everything is more neutral. I think, and I hope they in 1 or 2 years. I think right now it's not a possibility to win the Champions League or La Liga. Maybe they can end second or third in La Liga. Maybe they can get into the quarterfinals, semifinals of Champions League. But I think right now I have to be optimistic, but also realistic. And I think right now Champions League is still really difficult. But maybe in 2 years, who knows? Football is football, my friend.
Yeah,
everything can happen.
Absolutely, man. That's the best way to put it, and that's why I have hope with Arsenal, eventually winning the Premier League again. But anyway, that's another story. I suppose the hope that you could possibly have as a Sevilla fan is that you, in your long, rich history, you've done really well in cup competitions, because I've noticed as well in your Copa del Rey, you've throughout your history you've won quite a few of them as well. So maybe just in cup competitions, Sevilla is really made for competing really well in a cup and in a tournament. And the Champions League at the end of the day is a cup, is a tournament. So who knows, man? Fingers crossed that it might actually happen for you.
I hope. I mean, this year they are playing against Barcelona in the semi-final. They are just 3 games ahead of the title of the Copa del Rey. I mean, if they win against Barcelona, there is a high chance Sevilla can win this year the Copa del Rey. And I mean, I think it's a possibility. There is a lot of chances this year to win the Copa del Rey. I don't want to jinx it,
No.
But I have faith. I have faith in this year Copa del Rey. I have faith in doing something important in Champions League, and I I have faith that we will end at least in the first 4 positions in the La Liga this year.
There was nothing else at all in the whole world but football.